Good evening, everybody, and thank you for logging in. And welcome to the first of many webinars that the Property Factory is going to be hosting. And it's awesome to see some familiar names. I'm probably going to just chew the fat for a little bit whilst we tick over 7:30, as it has just done now. But I've got more people logging in, so yeah, this is exciting. It's my first online presentation for some years now, and it's a cool opportunity to give everybody that has dealt with me in the past a new offer, a new service, a new way to buy property at the best possible price and be looked after by the best possible people, and be part of a new online and in the room and face-to-face community. So just a bit of housekeeping. You don't have to leave the room if there's some sort of disaster because you're at home or in your car or in your workplace. But you do have some functionality on this presentation. You can send messages through, and I will get around to looking at those, or one of our moderators will answer questions. So if you're not familiar with the webinar technology out there, all of those things are possible. So just get a feel for the dashboard and the controls that you've got, and the messages you can send, questions you can ask, and we'll do our best to get those done during the course of this webinar. So we're probably going to talk for, I'm probably going to talk for about an hour, and then I'm going to do a Q&A session at the end, and hopefully you like what you see. I think you will. I've been working on this for some time now, a couple of years, and we're doing this as what we're calling a soft launch tonight, just a few hand-selected clients of mine from the past, and yeah, hopefully you like what you see. So just going to pause now. We'll wait one more minute, and then we'll start the online presentation. Okay, I am now going to get into it because I can see we've got quite a few people logged in now, and I don't want to keep people up for any longer than they need to. So, New Zealand property investors, this is a wholesale opportunity. And when I say wholesale, I mean we are a business that provides membership for customers who are serious about property. So, quick agenda of what we're going to do tonight. I'm going to talk about what we do for investors, how we can help you as an investor, a couple of case studies of some previous deals that I've done in the last couple of years and in the last 10 years, 20 years, some deals that we're going to offer you in the next few days, our membership model or our membership program. We've got a free membership and we've got a paid membership. And then we'll do a Q&A session. So that's, if I can do that in an hour, I'll set a record, because I've never taken less than an hour in a webinar in my life. So bear with me. So what we do, I look at our model as a direct, I guess, pipeline or direct production factory, or I call it the property factory for a reason, and that you're buying as close to the source as possible without lots of middlemen. We are a bulk listing agency. Developers, builders, and vendors love us because we can come to them with volume purchases. They love investors more than homeowners because they don't want to vary things as much. So what we've done, we've decided to, and it's come off the back of a lot of meetings with developers and builders, we've decided to come up with a program which basically really rewards the priority members, or the people with platinum membership, on who want to come and get these deals first. So my Pepsi challenge, or my goal, is that I'm always going to provide opportunities that are better than anything else in the marketplace. And if I'm not doing that, I'm not doing my job. And this isn't my first rodeo. I've been doing this for some time. And, you know, I've sourced over 2,100 properties over the last 24 years, totaling just under $1 billion worth of real estate. Our team combined, it's not just me, have over 50 years of property experience around real estate acquisition, development, and investment. So we're not just a real estate agency, we're also property investors. I'm just going to pause. I think we've got some sound headaches. Give me 2 seconds, everybody. Sorry about this. Okay, I've turned my headphones off and maybe that'll be better. So can somebody just tell me if I'm clear or I'm crackly or if coming back better? Okay, one of my fine moderators is telling me I'm good. So the whole concept started 6 years ago, 7 years ago, and I thought there's got to be a better way to buy property without 600 people in the mix taking a slice. But secondly, builders, developers, vendors are like the warehouse. If you're ordering 10 or 20 items, you're going to get a better price. One of our clients, one of our builder developers, they order 100 houses at once. So no one can beat them in price. So our real estate agency model, our direct model, is to pass on those discounts as much as we can to the end consumer. You know, we do not want you to buy retail. We want you to buy wholesale because it's all in the purchase in terms of your cost, your rent on cost as an investment property. So the cheaper you can buy a property, the higher the return, and then the capital growth that'll carry past that is on top of your entry discount. So it's got to be a hell of a good story if we haven't put a discount on a deal. And we can't do it for every single listing we do or every single project. We only typically get some properties at a discount. And that's pretty much what I've been doing for the last couple of years, been just doing my own thing. So I guess the point here is that we are a team of very seasoned property finders, property buyers, property traders, property investors who are now sharing the bulk purchasing power that we've developed and built up with vendors and developers over time with our customers. And I've been looking forward to this night for a long time because a lot of the customers that I built up great relationships with, and some of them are friends. I've got some friends on this presentation. I'm now sharing the wholesale discounts that I've been getting with our customers and family and friends. So that's pretty cool. So let me just get on the right slide. So I break property up into 6 areas or 6 key strategies. Every single property falls into one of them. So if I'm rocking up to a developer and say, right, I want 20 units in that complex, that's a bulk discount stock acquisition process or strategy. House and land. If we go onto a greenfield site with cows on it, that's the ultimate. The downside is the client has to wait a couple of years to get their piece of land. But if you get that right, you can get a hideously exciting return. And our last one of these in Wanaka, we got 44% on cost before title. That's pretty unheard of, but that's the sort of experience we bring to the table. We also get early stage release discounts, and that's probably the main thing we do. You know, builders, they've got 20 lots. I say, right, here's a price for the first 4. That's the 4 you guys will be in as members of the service. We've also got some boutique or some bespoke experience. We've done a lot of short-term rentals around the country. I just sold one and I made an 87% return on cost. I just about doubled my money, and that was in a very short space of time. We also have early stage release house and land, not just land. And we've done a lot of those around the country, and the most recent project was in Queenstown. But also brand new stock, brand new apartments in a rising market is achievable, and we've got some at the moment in Auckland, where the developer is giving us an unbelievable discount, and the product's great. It's not tardy, and we'll talk about that as I go on.
So that's our sort of 6 strategies that we put. Every time I look at something, I say, right, what is this? Is it an early stage prime subdivision? Is it a bulk discount of finished stock or nearly finished stock? Is it an early stage? Are we into stage 1 in a big project? Is there an upside in a short-term renting it? And these are the sorts of things that we look at every time I look at a different listing. So I'm going to give you a bit of an insight to how my finding rules work. And this is just a very high-level summary. First of all, location is critical. I was talking to a builder the other day in Christchurch, and they talked about a subdivision which, in my world, was in the middle of an island. It was nowhere. No shops, you had to get in the car to get milk. Beautiful subdivision, all finished. A lot of retirees living there. Nothing wrong with it, but from an investment perspective, it was going to be probably the slowest growth location out of all of the stock I was looking at. And sometimes it's quite hard to explain to a builder or developer that this isn't the best location. Please don't buy land there. We also look at what's going on in the next few years, and that includes 10 to 20 years, especially in places like Central Otago when they're talking about changing the international airport location. In Christchurch, the Cranford Street extension is not that far away, and when that's open, it's going to change North Canterbury, the same way that all of the western roads changed the little town of Rolleston, which is now a huge town. So infrastructure plans around the country are mission critical. The road between Hamilton and Auckland is about to get exciting over the coming years, and now is the time to put your stake in the ground and secure the right real estate, which we have. We look really hard at developers. I'm one of the few people who can sit down with a builder and say, I need to see your balance sheet. Who's your funder? How do we know you're going to be here when our clients are at the other end settling? And they look at me as if like I'm some sort of bizarre person, because normally an agent's turning up and they're kissing their backside and groveling for a listing. We're not interested in doing that. We're only interested in dealing with serious players, and I've only dealt with serious players in the past. And that's not cheap words. I've got a history of that, and I can show that to you when you start talking to us about becoming a member. We then look at the product, and I have bought new product into multiple locations that is investment centric, which is purpose-built investment, because that extra 1 or 2% yield can be the difference in you getting finance or not. So the product design is mission critical, also the quality. If you do a crap fit out, or if the builder does a crap fit out in a good location, it can have an impact on the rent. Take Queenstown. If you do a bad fit out and a bad furnishing, it can have a massive impact on your rental return. And lastly, people buy property for the long term because they want to live off it in retirement. There's a lot of people that teach that. There's a million books that you can read. There are online presentations. We're not here to educate. We are inviting all of you to this membership because you're already educated. But what I look at very hard, take that subdivision I was talking about before in Canterbury. Who was your tenant at the other end? And I don't actually believe there was a tenant, because tenants want shops, schools, bus routes, infrastructure. And this subdivision was beautiful, and it was very close to towns, but you had to get in the car. That doesn't work for tenants. They're not going to put up with that. So you do not want to own a rental property in the middle of butthole Idaho that does not have infrastructure around it. And I'm brutal with my words, but I do not want you to make a bad purchase decision. So who's your target tenant at the end? Who's going to rent it? You know, we've just done a town, we've done analysis on a town that is so hot for growth, but the tenant market's not there yet. They'll come, but they're not there yet. Just want to look at a couple of case studies just to show you that this isn't all hot air and hogwash. So I'm going to touch on 5 of very many deals that I've done in the last few years, and where there's been genuine gains. I own a number of licensed real estate agencies. The Property Factory is a licensed real estate agency. All of the numbers, all of the stats that I'm giving you is on public record if you want to look it up. I don't make stuff up. My ex-judge father would crucify me if I did. But secondly, my reputation's all I've really got going forward in the world of real estate, and I stick to it. So the numbers I'm giving you are real, and these are one-off deals that we have been blessed with from our wonderful developer vendors, and those same developer vendors are still keen to sell, but they can't do it for all of the sales in the complex. So This is just an insight to some of the deals that I have had personally as a purchaser, where I've either banked the gain after selling it, or I've kept the gain and it's on paper in discount on purchase. So the first one, Christchurch. I'm not going to name the developer out of professional courtesy, but we bought properties that had valuations of $390 and got a $70,000 gain on purchase. That's 22% instant return, instant profit if I sold it, instant equity on the balance sheet if I kept it. Nice price point, rent pays the cost. What a wonderful way to build a portfolio. I can't do this for every purchaser. We bought 4 in one hit to get that discount. And, the developer is in our stable of suppliers, vendors, developers. Wanaka. This was probably the most stressful deal we've done in the last 4 years, because I had to take a $2 million stake in this project. I was the very first customer, and basically I was buying land and I was packaging houses. I expected the land to go up by about 15 to 20%, and it went up by 40%. I then did a bulk deal with the builder, and we had a $220,000 gain per house in this location in 2.7 years. Now, the picture you're looking at is the subdivision about a year and a half ago. It's now very populated with people, kids, bus routes, cafes. This is our flagship project over the last few years, and we've got about 4 more of these in front of us. We've had people sell in here and bank that profit. We sold one and banked the profit. We've got customers that have been rented since they got the keys were passed to their property manager. These numbers aren't fake. You can't fudge numbers when you're a real estate agent making representations. So these gains are in front of us with new projects. So that's Wanaka. Queenstown, a bit more expensive, similar numbers, 126 grand on average. We did 12 of these for ourselves or our clients. We're in there with our clients. We always buy where we put our clients into. But I've got one client at the moment who's looking to sell, and the gain will be over 250 if he gets the price he's asking for, because Queenstown has just been so hard to get stock under $1 million. So, and I have no problem selling early if I'm making a profit. There's no such thing as a bad profit. If you're making a profit, it's a good profit. Time will increase it. So we've still got some clients that are active in Queenstown, and they're very happy with the purchases they made through us over the last couple of years. This one's an oldie but a goodie. This was probably one of the first purpose-built investment complexes, and we're going now north. We're up in Wellington. Did this one a long time ago. We probably sold this building down twice over time because it was the only purpose-built investment complex in Wellington at the time. But in 2 years, on average, our clients were making 37% on the purchase. And I just wanted to take a little trip down memory lane to say that this isn't all just now. I did that deal probably 15 to 16 years ago off memory. Let's keep going back into, I'm flying all over the country here. You can do this on our website. All this information is on our website. This was one of those deals where I sat on 2 of these properties. I had them under contract. I had the first one under contract. This is a one-off. This is a one-off deal. I had the first one under contract for 505. And then the agent said, oh, we can get you the neighbour's property. And the first one was a corner unit, and it was a great unit, and it was 505. 6 weeks later, the agent said, oh, look, there's another one in the complex. You can have it for 550. And I thought, oh, it's a bit high. This is when Queenstown was flat. We let the second contract go, and we bought the first contract. My beloved wife spent about $10,000 zazzing up the property. And when we went to auction, we had 18 bidders at auction, and we sold the property for $785,000. This is 1.1 years later. Now, it takes a lot to surprise me, but that one surprised me. We were initially going to turn it from 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom into a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom and short-term rent it. But I just wasn't comfortable with the location and the product for short-term rental. It would have been fine, but it would have been an okay return. And if I'm going to get into the short-term market, I want a high return, a seriously high return, because of the extra time it it takes. And when you can get a 55% return in 1 year on your money, you bank it. That's my trading hat. And one of the things I do with clients, I look at it from the investment long term, I look at it from the investment short term, and I look at it from a trade. And I put myself in clients' shoes. I get a second guessed with my team of experts, and typically they come up and say, yeah, flick it, or no, keep it, it's too good. And this is one of those ones that I'm happy I sold. If I was selling that today, it might get into the 8s, maybe not sure. It's not that big, a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom. 785 was a big number at the time. I still think I might be in the 8s now. Who knows? Don't care. I sold it. So that's just a quick snapshot of some of the deals that I've done. You can jump online and look at a bigger snapshot, but it's not all of the deals. We've got our tech team still populating some of the projects that we've done in the past. And when you get into the deals that we've got in the future, you'll be the first to see them. And this is where I'm now sharing the deals that I've been doing, and I've been doing myself, and everyone's only got so much capital, with a hand selected or small group of customers that I've had a relationship with in the past. So spend some time on our website. Excuse any spelling mistakes. It's like anything when you launch, there's always going to be a few broken things on the website, but don't let that judge our property performance, because I've been doing this gig for 25 years, and I'm really looking forward to getting back and talking and dealing with customers. I've missed it. I've had 2.5 years off just doing our own deals, and I'm now ready to get back into it. So the factory, I called it the property factory because I wanted to buy low and provide stock low to customers. We're still making a margin on the way through, but it's a small margin in comparison to the discounts and the knowledge and the judgment that we bring to the table. We've got to pay the bills. We've got to, our marketing spend is more than your standard real estate commission. If you look at how we operate and what we do up front before you see the stock. But I'm just going to show you 2 or 3 deals now that are in the pipeline, and these are members only. These will not be available to the public. I can just see some questions being asked, so I'll have a look at those in a second. But these deals in the pipeline, this is just a snapshot of the deals that we're about to launch. First one is in Christchurch. It's a house and land package that is going to be just under half. That's not an actual picture of it, that's just a stock image. But these are really high quality house and land packages, 10 minutes from Christchurch Airport, 10 minutes from Riccarton, 10 minutes from Canterbury University. They're going to be under $500,000 with valuations of over 550. That's a 10% plus discount. Okay, so in one deal, and there's only 6 of these, and we've vetted the builder, we've put them through the ringer. They are a quality builder in a quality location with limited house lots. House and land, in my opinion, is the safest investment. You can always sell it to an owner-occupier. There's always families looking for rentals. And in critical areas where schools, buses, airports, universities, blah, blah, blah are in place, it's pretty hard to stuff that up. And then when you're getting a 10% discount on entry, it's pretty hard to say that this doesn't make sense. So that's our first one in Christchurch. Now this one is hard to believe, but Auckland has had the wobbles over the last few months, and we've been scouring the landscape in Auckland to look for quality stock and quality locations. And we've come across a project that is finished, and we are looking at getting properties 22% below valuation. These are estimated numbers at this stage. We're having a bit of a dance with the developer on this, but we're looking at a dozen apartments, and these are absolutely prime because of the location. And I can't mention the suburb on these. We've got a confidentiality clause with the developer. But we're talking about $100,000 below valuation with purchase prices in the high 4s in a very, very good location in Auckland. But more importantly, I've been through the complex. It's not full of expensive items for the body corporate to pay for. It's not full of unnecessary corridors. It's a really efficient building. It's perfect for Airbnb or long-term rentals, depending which way you want to go. It's brand new. It's got car parks. It's got storage. It's got bike racks. It's got scooter rack. It's got scooter parking. The developers, architect, and the developer have taken an Australian design and put it into Auckland, and it is absolutely brilliant. So that discount that we're dealing with on that is not made up. It's a real property that I was surprised when I went through. I was expecting to be a lot scodier, a lot rougher than it was, but it's very good. So that's the next one that we've got coming up in good old North Lake, Wanaka, where we've done a lot of house and land packages. We can still get property in there for under 700, 675 on valuations of 730 or thereabouts. So we're talking about an 8% discount, which is 55 grand. That's 55,000 of when you get the house, when you get the keys to it. That's what the numbers that we've been working on with our last projects have been coming in at. And when I say projects, working for clients where we've secured the land, we've packaged a house, they own it from day one. Builder gives them the keys on average about 10 to 11 months later, and a tenant walks in the same day the keys come over. That's how much of a shortage there is of rentals in Wanaka. And I'm just going to give a bit of a prediction for Wanaka. There's a lot of land coming up and a lot of land in build, but a lot of those sections are large. And you don't want large sections because they cost 300,000 to 400,000, sometimes 5. And you put a house on those bigger sections and it's going to cost you 500,000. So you're getting into the market close to $1 million. The rental income in Wanaka does not support $1 million house and land packages. We're at the absolute peak if we're under 700. Once it gets over 700, it's hard to justify a rental in Wanaka because rents haven't risen there yet much. They are rising, but it takes a while. We're hearing that Wanaka Airport has got some serious growth ahead of it, potentially international flights. And it's all to do with Queenstown Airport. It's all to do with Cromwell as a service centre. So Wanaka, it's not too late to get into Wanaka if you're in the right subdivision, with the right product, and at the right price. And that's so key. You buy in the wrong area there, you're going to end up with an $800,000 property. The rent won't wash its face, and you'll be topping that thing up way too much every month. And we've spent the last 3.5 years now working in Wanaka. We know every inch of it, from the right place to buy and the wrong place to buy. And sometimes I spend a lot of painful time working with purchasers to stop them buying property in the wrong location. Wanaka is not a very big place, but there are places you do not want to buy in Wanaka, as well as places that you do want to buy in Wanaka. So again, that's what you're getting when you join our team. So I'm just going to have a quick drink because I've been talking for a while, 30 minutes to be precise, I think it is. So give me 2 seconds. I'm going to take a break. And if there's any questions, I'm going to have a quick look at that. So give me 2 seconds. All right, so I've just been told off. We're not doing questions yet. We're waiting until we get to the Q&A session. I have rehydrated my mouth. So if you can put up with me for another 15, 20 minutes, we'll do the questions then. So I thought long and hard, talked to a lot of people about how we can share these deals with customers, with friends, with families, with people who actually respect, appreciate, and value judgment, advice, and knowledge. So we've created a couple of memberships. The first one of these, we'll get to that. So we've got 2 memberships that you can join tonight. One's free, won't cost you anything. One's paid, and you'll get serious value from that because we've spent money putting this whole thing together. as well as there's only so many deals that we can offer those discounts with. So on our website, once you become a member, there's a whole bunch of resources. You get a property strategy session when you join us. We'll do a financial health check. We've got a members only area to new project releases. I can't highlight this next one enough. I've used the same accountant for 25 years. I was introduced to him in Wellington. I've followed him through 3 different companies, and he is still my go-to person for advice. He's not a typical accountant. He owns a hell of a lot of real estate, and we have solved a lot of interesting problems for clients and interesting problems for ourselves when property goes wrong, because sometimes it does go wrong. And with him and my lawyers around the country, I've got a couple, and my financiers, we are now expanding that network of experts to our customers. And I can't highlight enough how important it is now going into a more dangerous market to have smart people around you. I was talking to a client the other day who bought a property off us in Christchurch, and I said to her, you're listening to too many people. You need to shorten your team or make your team smaller and listen to experts. And they're around you. You're just choosing the wrong ones, because she was talking to friends, family, and foes, and they are not people to take property advice from. We're going to do in-the-room events. We're going to get on the road soon and do tours around Auckland, Hamilton, Wellington, Tauranga, Christchurch, and Central Otago. We're going to do online webinars like this, and you'll get invites to those over the coming weeks and months. We're also going to give you market updates. I spend a lot of money and time on research, and again, we've limited that in the past just to the one-off people that buy from us. So now we're doing it on a website basis, so you can get access to that all the time. We're going to do podcasts and videos. We've got a members-only Facebook group, and we're also going to do 2 times a year, or I think 3 times a year, 2 or 3 times a year. It'll come on a coming page. I can't actually remember. Where we actually get together in a retreat type environment, which isn't lying around drinking pina coladas. We're going to be looking at where the market is, what's going forward. But those are going to be quite small, not sessions, but small groups where it's invitation only. They're 2-day retreats where we get a couple of days of good face-to-face time. We're going to mix it up around the country. And I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I've done it with small groups, but now we're going to do it with people in, 10, maybe 20. Depending on the capacity of our, because we'll be bringing in other experts to those retreats that you'll learn a hell of a lot from, as well as me and the Property Factory team. So just giving you a bit of insight to what will happen if you decide to become a member. The first thing is you need a strategy, because everybody in the country, in the world, has a different set of financial circumstances. We use authorised financial advisors, mortgage brokers, investment experts to help create a strategy for you that aligns your long-term goals with your current situation. So this will take about 45 to 60 minutes. It's not a ripping right down to the last cent. It's a high-level strategy that will give you a really good idea of the direction that we think you should go in. We'll then make sure that you've got the right entities to buy property in, and we refer you to experts who do that. The next one, which is so critical, we have got the lowest interest rates in New Zealand's history. When I bought my first property, I paid 12.5% per annum from the ANZ Bank. We've got interest rates with 3% in front of them. It's crazy. But it's also the hardest I've seen in years to get money out of the banks. And that is a challenge. And you are absolutely dreaming if you haven't got the right mortgage broker or investment specialist or finance specialist. You are dreaming. Don't go to Barry the broker because you've known him. I spend so much time telling people they're with the wrong finance person. Finance is critical. Once you've done that and you're pre-approved, we then sit down and we look at what is the right property for you. And we don't do it on our own. We do it with you, and we do it with the authorized financial advisors that we work with. We do it with you and your spouse if you're investing together, because When you buy a property, you're typically doing it for the long term. I showed you some of my trades that I do before because I buy and hold and I also buy and sell. I'm a trader and an investor, but that doesn't mean you need to be a trader and an investor. Most of our customers will be investors because they haven't got, I'm full-time in property. Not everyone's going to be full-time. So we sit down with you and we look at what are your options. You've got 800 grand to spend or 600 grand to spend or 2 million to spend. What would we do? And this is where empathy comes in. I always sit in your shoes. I think, what would I do if I was you? What would I do if I was a 30-year-old on 180 grand a year? What would I do if I was a 50-year-old on 90 grand a year with my balance sheet? And I put myself in your shoes, I discuss it with my colleagues, and then we bring in the right advisors to then put that in writing so that you are actually have got somebody who's put their signature on you, and this is what we recommend you do. And that goes right through to retirement. So this isn't just for the now, it's for the long term. So that selection of property is actually a formula. And then we hold your hand right through to settlement. And if you live in Auckland or Wellington and you're buying a house in Cromwell or Wanaka or Queenstown, we will make sure that when it's finished, the curtains are in, the property manager has been showing tenants through before you settle, so that the day you settle, you've ideally got a tenant moving on the same day. The amount of times I've seen properties sitting empty because the investors in Auckland, the properties in Queenstown, and there was a bit of a gap between talking to the property manager and advertising it for rental. That's dead money. You can never get that back. That won't happen on our watch. So we are right through to settlement and long-term management. We'll work with your property manager to ensure you're getting maximum rental. So that's our sort of helicopter view strategy process or investment process through from strategy through to settlement. And that's just some of the things you can do online with us. So we've got a lot of digital content. If anything, don't get buried in here. You're still going to buy a house and get tenants and get rent from it. And then you've got to buy another one. Because the basic rule of thumb is if you buy 5 properties over 5 years or 5 properties over 10 years and live and pay off the debt, you can live off the rent in retirement. Basic rule of thumb. So to help you get to that journey, we've created a lot of digital content where our Facebook group is a way for you to network with other investors. It's really important that you hang around with like-minded people. It's really important that you hang around with people that know more about property than you. If you start getting property advice from your neighbor, you may as well go to the casino because it's highly likely that they're not experienced in property, but I'm sure they've got a strong opinion on where they think's good or bad to buy. So we've created our Platinum Members group on Facebook so you guys can meet up with each other around the country. We encourage that. We've got podcasts. We're going to be doing digital investment reports with video, audio. So we've got a online community for our members, whether they're free or whether they're paid, so that you can benefit from the market knowledge that we're picking up daily, weekly, monthly. The deals that we're doing more probably monthly. The deal of the century doesn't come along every day. We'll probably only do 6 really, really hot deals in the next 12 months. But make sure that you have an opportunity to buy one of those because the discounts don't last. And we're moving into a much more buyers-focused market. And the danger in a buyers-focused market or a market where people are fearful, the real challenge is knowing which is the best deal, which is not the great deal. That's the challenge. And I'm absolutely ruthless with my filtering comb, with my sieve. I do a lot of poking on a deal in a market that's getting flat because you could be with that property for a long time and making the wrong decision is far more dangerous than making no decision. So I'd rather you do nothing than buy the wrong property. So let's get to the nitty gritty of our membership program. How am I doing for time, team? I think I'm doing all right. So we have 2 membership levels. This is the free membership. Please join our free membership. I hope you join our paid membership because you will then get access to the extra things. But we've developed a free membership that gives you your initial strategy. It will give you access to our wholesale deals. You'll get a financial health check and borrowing ability assessment. You will be invited to these types of events. You will be given market updates and you will have access to our podcasts and videos. So there is stuff for free. the reason we're inviting you to this is that you've had a relationship with me in the past, and you're an investor, and at worst, you're going to join our free membership. So cool. And you'll communicate with us. We'll work with you. It's pretty digital because there's only so many hours in the day and we can't offer our time for free. So we've now come up with a paid membership, which basically gives you 6 things over and above the free. One of those is an annual strategy review. So it's all called our platinum membership. And it's no different to your Air New Zealand Gold Elite or Gold, Silver. We've just put these into different tiers. Platinum credit cards, Gold credit cards. Typically, you're getting something extra. So when you're paying, you get an annual strategy review. You still get all of those other free services. But you will also get a portfolio annual cash flow and valuation review. So that costs you. But the real crux is you get 5 days pre-release before we release to our database our hot deals. Now, I'll be surprised if after 5 days those deals will be there per release, because we're only going to get so many with those sorts of discounts. So 5 days, you don't have to rush. You've got 5 days to make an informed decision on whether you want to lock one of those properties up. And when you lock it up, you don't go unconditional. You'll be in a conditional contract and you'll still have time to do your proper due diligence and finance. On some releases, we won't have that luxury. You'll have 5 days to make a purchase decision because they're limited. We may put 2 people on the same property. It just depends on the stock and the conditions that we're under. But you will always get that 5-day pre-release access to those deals. You'll also get access to our team of experts. Again, they've only got so much time, but we will basically handhold you, introducing you to the expert in your location. And if they're not in your location, we'll then just put you into an expert advisor that's close to that location. And in reality, in the world of digital, my accountant lives in the North Island. I now live in the South Island, and I wouldn't change. I would never change them. You get access to that Facebook group, and that's really about networking. I think it's important you hang around with like-minded people. We'll probably facilitate coffees or wine and cheese evenings, but it's not included. But when we get enough people that are wanting to get together in a certain location, we'll definitely help coordinate it. But that's what the Facebook group's about. So we are doing the retreats 3 times per annum. So every 4 months you will be invited, and there are additional costs. You have flights and accommodation, but we will make all that happen. We'll package it all up, and we'll get group discounts on accommodation and transport. We'll probably incorporate bus trips with those to look at future stock or existing stock. So we'll pick locations based on the next hotspot or where we're picking as a place to buy now. And I can't wait for those because I get to hang out with customers and have a wine with them or a beer with them or a coffee with them, walk the grass with them, be on site with them saying, picture this subdivision with 1,500 houses, because in 2.5 years, that's what it's going to look like. That's the stuff we'll do at these retreats, as well as some not classroom time, but some strategy time as a group, talking about what's going on in Australia with APRA, what's going on with Australia with the banks, what's happening in the UK with Brexit, and how does that impact on New Zealand, what's going on with funding. It's the time where we'll talk about the bigger picture in not an intimate group, but in a group session where, we're having breaks, we're having lunch, we're having dinner, and we are getting to know each other a bit better. And that's important when you're dealing with customers for the long term. So that's what you get if you join our membership program. And just to summarize those differences: annual portfolio strategy review, annual portfolio valuation and cash flow review. We've got access to an online valuation tool, so we can do valuations of your existing property. We can do actual cash flows for you, and that's part of the service. And I don't know anyone else that does that. You're going to get access to wholesale deals for 5 days. I don't know anyone else that does that. And you're going to get access to a very small group of very, very capable property professionals. Facebook group and invitation to the retreat. So that's the summary of the differences. Okay, here is the pricing. So we have two payments. This is not the free. The free one's free. So if you come on now as a member, you have a one-off fee. It costs us, this is all cost recovery. It costs us about $1,000 to onboard you. And then you're paying $98 a month, or you can pay up front. You can pay $1,500 or $1,498 one-off onboarding for the first 12 months. And then every year after the first 12 months, $780. Sorry, what am I talking about? $800, $798. Now, I just had my Air New Zealand Platinum card renewed, and it came in the mail, and it said, "Thank you, Mr. Venning, for flying so often with us." And all that made me think it was my poor family, because I'm spending so much time on blooming aeroplanes. And that gives me a free Koru membership for me, a free Koru membership for my wife. It gives me 5 car parking tickets at the Koru parking. It gives me a whole lot of stuff. But it's not for free, because they're rewarding me for flying so much with Air New Zealand. So this is the same deal. There is a cost to this, but the value you're going to get from us is about 10% of the first deal you'll do with us in value. So look at it on the real estate, because that's where we're going to add significant value with all the other value along the way. So these you'll see on our website are the membership payments. This is the first webinar that we're doing. This is the first group of people we're offering this to. So we are doing so that's those prices. This is our website price. You'll see those on the website price. But like anything, when you're first launching, this is the first launch of this product, this service, this membership. So on this page, I've got a one-off onboarding fee that hasn't changed. If you add all that up in terms of 12 months, it's about 2,174, well, exactly 2,174. So what we're doing at the moment for the next 12 months, sorry, for tonight's webinar and the next few weeks, we will be offering you $998 to onboard you in your first year, including your first year. So it's $1,000, just under $1,000 to get all of those features and benefits and services that I talked about before. So I'm going to leave that slide on there. I'm going to go to some of the questions and have a read of them and then just answer them. So I'm just going to mute myself for a second and get a drink. Okay, rehydrated. I've got 9 minutes and then it's an hour, and I wanted it to be an hour. We used to do 3.5-hour presentations, and I tell you what, you needed more than a drink of water after that. This is a short presentation because it's a test and just to sort of see what people think. So I'm now going to jump to the questions that are sitting here in the Q&As. So someone's asked me, what's my take on the Christchurch market? This is Jeremy. Currently, there is an oversupply of houses, which does not bode well for properties to hold their value. So Christchurch has been ring-fenced as what I call it's an anomaly market. 80% of the CBD was destroyed or pulled down in the earthquake. You had a housing shortage created that made rents go through the roof. In the short, we had properties that were in the 300s getting $1,200 a week furnished post earthquake. So the Christchurch market is not typical. Now, everybody complains about the speed of the rebuild and we want this and we want that. We're a country with the same size. The population of our country is the same size as Melbourne. our infrastructure spend and ability is nothing like China or the UK or America or Australia or even Melbourne. We don't have that grunt. There's nearly 30 million people in Australia, 5 million in New Zealand. So Christchurch, in my opinion, is moving into the peak of the construction phase, and the construction will start dying down. If you've been to Christchurch over the last 6 years, it has been tough. Roads are horrible. They're being dug up. Their roads are blocked with roadworks. But then all of a sudden, they'll open a building. I'll use the Justice Precinct as an example. Stunning building. I mean, as a centre for fire, police, emergency services, the courts, the ambulance, all of the critical infrastructure services that Kiwis need as a city are all in one building. 1,200 people work in that building. 1,200 people. The Christchurch Library is one of the most amazing buildings I've ever been in. It's open for business. The Justice Precinct is open for business. I think it's 300 and something jobs in the library. Don't quote me on that. I can't remember the exact number. When these buildings open, it brings people into the city. So the question was around this oversupply of property. Every single project we've been involved in within the 4 Avs has rented. We had a complex of 18 dual key units, that's 36 tenants. It rented in less than 6 weeks in the middle of winter this time last year. So good property rents. There is a lot of secondhand stock in Christchurch, which I would steer anyone clear of. You're going to get smashed with Labour's new health measures on properties, with warrants of fitness, with insulation, with watertightness. Old properties are old. They are called old properties because some of them need to be pulled down. Some landlords are sitting on stock which is not worth the current book value. So I think in Christchurch, we've had oversupply, but eventually demand catches up. Christchurch population is growing, but we are still only halfway, maybe a little bit further through the rebuild. And when everybody comes to Christchurch, when it's finished, and when all of the infrastructure roads are finished, they're going to go, oh, wish I'd bought earlier. So yes, I think your comment's fair that there is oversupply in certain areas, but there's also a price point which the rest of the country is left behind. So what's really important at the moment when you've got choice is to buy in the right location. You know, when we were first listing and selling property in the CBD, the developer builders were paying $700-800 a metre for the land. Same land's now $2,000 a metre. So Christchurch isn't going to get cheaper. Second-hand stock will, but new stock won't. And we only sell new stock. We will not sell second-hand stock. We have a business that will help customers sell second-hand stock if they want to move property. But the Property Factory Direct, the Property Factory Wholesale model will only sell new property. So my take on it, Jeremy, is that if you have a year or two of flat growth and the rent's paying the cost, you've secured that location as the land is still going up. And developers are paying more and more for land every month. So it's running out. And I'm talking mainly in the CBD. And in the suburbs, it's about being in the right suburb, the right subdivision with the right product. And that's where, even with House and Land, don't just buy any old house. We design the house with the builder to be investment centric and investment happy. So that's where moving into this, let's call it the fear market, where a lot of people are fearful in this type of climate. It's not that, it doesn't mean you shouldn't buy. It means that you need to buy the right product in the right place. So I've got a couple more questions. What is the size of the Auckland apartments? They range, and some of them are about 40-something square metres up to 70 square metres. The 40 square metres is a problem with finance, but that's why the discount is so high. We have a lot of cash buyers. People are pre-approved, $1 million, $2 million. And the cash flow from these on cost is going to be over 10% if you Airbnb them. Another question. With this, so I've just had a question from a company that I used to work in, or I used to own. And I am inviting all of my past customers from all of my past businesses to this membership offer. So it's open to anyone that's worked with me in the past, and that's how I've kept everybody's email address and phone numbers, and you'll probably get a call from me over the coming weeks to say hi and, would you like to do business with us again? So this invitation to our membership will go wider over the coming months, but at the moment we're literally just inviting people I've worked with in the past. I'm reconnecting. I've moved to Christchurch. I now live in the South Island. I don't travel as much as I used to, but next week I'm in Auckland and Hamilton. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting in touch with people. Let me just see if I've got another question. Great question, Sam. If we were to join the paid membership and later were unable to continue with the membership, is there a possibility of rejoining? You can cancel your membership at any time. Okay, we thought about this because a lot of people are buying now and then they're not buying for a while. So that's cool. We then stop your paid membership. You stay on as a free member. And when you're ready to buy again, you can just sign up. So we've structured around people's purchasing timeline, because not everyone's buying every month. So good question, Sam. And yes, we have got that covered. Oh my gosh, now I've got a list of questions. How does the Property Factory stock compare to other marketers selling to investors? Well, that's like asking Usain Bolt, how does he compare to the other runners? I mean, at the end of the day, anyone can go out and find stock. You don't have to be licensed to do that. You have to be licensed to sell it. But I'd take the Pepsi challenge with any of the other people in the market who are finding stock for clients. I'd take the Pepsi challenge. I've been doing this for 25 years. And in the last 2.5 years, I've been finding far more stock than I can buy. And I'm now sharing those discounts. So I've got some really good competitors that I have beers with, lunches with, coffees with. It's a small world and they're good people. And I'm not saying they're hopeless or not good at what they do, but been doing what I'm doing for a long time. I've got a great relationship with a lot of developers around the country, a lot of builders. And I guess they respect that through saying, okay, you're the real deal. You've got real clients. How do we get access to them? And I've spent the last 12 months having those discussions with builders and developers. And we've been working on this product and offering and website and new program for the last, I've been thinking about it for nearly 5 years, but we've been spending money on it for the last 12 months. So yeah, I'm looking forward to being tested on that Pepsi challenge. Okay, now I've got a new question. I am a new investor. Should I buy a home or first investment? So I've got a wonderful phrase called your first home investment, and first home buyers in my world are first home investors. I haven't seen a first home buyer own the house for more than 2 to 3 years, and they typically sell it. So I'm very keen for you to use KiwiSaver and your first home buyer grant and your bank ability to get a 90% loan to buy your first home. And when you get in there and sit in the lounge, I'm going to sit down with you and say, good news, this is your first investment. This is going to be a rental when you get sick of it, when you outgrow it with a baby or with a flatmate. So your first home should be your first investment. And I call first home buyers first home investors. So more on that once we get into our videos, podcasts, our retreats, etc. What New Zealand cities are good for buying apartments in? That's a big question. All cities. The world is moving to apartments. The world is moving to smaller houses. The world is moving to townhouses. The average family size is getting smaller. So I can't say Auckland's a good city to buy apartments because all of the cities are good to buy apartments, but there's good apartments and there's bad apartments. And right now is the time to be fearful because the difference between a good and a bad apartment is sometimes as good as the salesman's ability to push you into the stock they want you to buy that pays them a commission. Got another question. Sorry, I'm just taking a drink and reading it. Hang on. Okay, got the Hawke's Bay, Dan. I had a group of clients in the Hawke's Bay about 15 years ago, and I loved going and seeing them. And one of those clients is now one of my life mates, and his wife used to work for me. I did everything possible to get her to come back and work for us, but she's too busy with babies and schools and after school activities. So it's nice to hear from someone from the Hawke's Bay. So Dan, I'm sure it's sunny there because it never rains. So yes, so Dan's asking, can we work with people in the Hawke's Bay? We will work with people in Gore. We will work with people in Invercargill, Dunedin, Queenstown. We are a digital business, and we have spent a lot of money facilitating a digital real estate agency to allow us to transact with people across the country. So the short answer is yes, Dan, we can deal with you in the Hawke's Bay. And if you're in Tauranga or Hamilton or Cambridge or Auckland or Whanganui or Whakatane, wherever, we can deal with you. Next question. Do I think that the property market will go up again in the next 2 years on the North Shore? I'm not sure. No, on the North Shore, not sure. You know, it's such a loaded question. Do I think you can buy good deals on the North Shore in the next 2 years? I think you can buy good deals everywhere in the next 2 years. Do I think it'll go up? I'm not sure. You've had so much growth in Auckland, but you don't wait until it starts growing again to buy good rental stock. And will most of our deals come out of Auckland in the next 12 months? Maybe not. But there's a lot going on in Hobsonville Point that is pretty exciting. There's a lot going on in some subdivisions around the North Shore in the next, right now. So we cherry pick locations and projects. So as a general property market, it's a sweeping statement. I can't answer it. I haven't got a crystal ball. But you know, income prices to house prices in Auckland are starting to get to the point that if interest rates went up, you know, it's going to have a problem. But we've got nothing but, in what I can read, interest rates going down again over the next 6 to 12 months. So, and you've got some very attractive long-term fixed rates that make North Shore properties and Hobsonville Point properties and Auckland CBD properties and South Auckland properties make a lot of sense. But it's about buying the right ones. And it's, so that's where our advice comes in. Okay, I've had another question. Okay, so previous business of mine, if you're a member of that, is there a conflict joining our membership? Absolutely not. I am a Qantas Life member and an Air New Zealand Gold Elite member. I fly Qantas sometimes, I fly Air New Zealand sometimes. I'm all for hanging around with like-minded people. I have drinks and coffees and lunches with my competitors. Healthy competition is good. They keep me honest, I keep them honest. So absolutely not. What I don't think you should do though is join 6 memberships. You know, if you look at my membership, if you don't get it back in your first real estate deal, there's something wrong. And that's how we're looking at it. And it might not be this month or next month that you buy that property. You might not buy it for 6 months. You might not be ready yet. So from it's not about the brand that's advising you or helping you or coaching you or mentoring you. You know, it's about the real estate you buy. And a lot of people sit on their hands because they don't know what to buy. And we help you do that through a very seasoned team of experts that need to all say the same thing. So and you might go back to one of those other services or other companies and say, hey, Vinny and Co reckon I should do this. And if they challenge it, I'll pick up the phone and ring them and say, why are you telling your client not to do this? Have we missed something? Please help me here. And I've typically never had a bad conversation with those calls. So yes, you can. So if you come and work with us, you do not have to use our experts. You might have an excellent broker or financier. We're not going to mess with that. Why would we? If something's not broken, don't fix it. So no, your team of experts can just improve. You might take a couple out. You might bring more in. We'll help you make that decision. We're not going to take you away from a good funder or a good mortgage broker or a good property manager. That would be crazy. And the reason that we're talking to you guys is that most of you have been set up with people that I've recommended to you in the past anyway. So good question though. Got some more coming. Do I support investors who are living overseas? Absolutely. I've got customers in France, UK, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore. I was up in Malaysia last year with some shareholders that are in with me on a project in Queenstown. So no, I grew up in Hong Kong. I have clients around the world, Middle East, always spend time in. I don't care where you live. Property is becoming easier and easier to do online. The AML or anti-money laundering rules have caused a bit of change to your internal processes as an agency, and we've sorted that out. We've got that down packed now, instigated with good reason by the government. Department of Internal Affairs overseeing that. So all we need to be able to do is prove who you are, or you need to prove to us who you are, and tick all the right boxes, and we can very much help you into real estate in New Zealand if you qualify under the overseas investment rules set out by the government. Someone's asked me, is it better to buy in Auckland than Tauranga? How long is a bit of string? I can't answer that. Again, what are you buying in Auckland? What are you buying in Tauranga? Tauranga is an extremely key city in New Zealand. They call it the Golden Triangle between Hamilton, Tauranga and Auckland. They call it the Golden Triangle between Cromwell, Queenstown and Wanaka. They're all good places to buy, subject to your financial circumstances and subject to the product you're looking at and the property you're looking at. So they're both good places to buy. Auckland's our only true international city of size. Tauranga is a lifestyle, growing city with a lot of infrastructure going in. It's got the ports. It's only going to get bigger. Hamilton, it is growing at a rapid rate, and train between Auckland and Hamilton is going to happen at some point. The roads are only getting better. It's now apparently quicker to go from South Auckland to Hamilton than it is from South Auckland to the CBD in peak traffic. So I can't say Auckland's better than Tauranga or Tauranga's better than Auckland, because they're all very safe cities. I'm going to pause. I'm going to have a quick drink of my water. I'm now 10 minutes over now. I'm going into danger area of annoying people. So have a breather. If you've got, sorry, I muted myself too. If you've got more questions, I'll be online for 5 more minutes. Check out our website. Look at our membership options. Fill out the free one if you're wondering about the paid one. There's no such thing as a free lunch. We've priced this attractively. We're going to look after our customers. We've digitized as much as possible so that we're not spread too thin. But I can't wait for our first retreat to see some of my old customers from my old businesses, because, as I said, some of them are lifetime friends now, and I've been out of circulation for a couple of years, and I can't wait to get back into it. So 5 more minutes, team, and then I'll be shutting the show down. Right, I am now down to 3 questions. Stephen's asked, what's my point of difference to the other companies? Look, we're offering all the same stuff, but my point of difference is I will take the Pepsi challenge with anyone that I'm going to find the best deals for my customers. I negotiate hard. I beat the developers, vendors down to as low as they can go. They need sales. Okay, so that's my point of difference. I think my judgment, my experience, my relationships the partners that I've got in the world of real estate are the top developers in this country. So yeah, I know how to smell a disaster developer, and I know how to smell a great developer, and they're already in our stables. So I think that's the difference, is it's in the finding of the property. That's what I do best. That's what my role in this business. I've got a team of awesome people who you will meet who do a lot of the other stuff. But the reality is we are facilitating you into the right real estate. And that is just mission critical because it's all in the buying. And Stephen, I remember you, and I'm looking forward to catching up. I hope you join, and I'll help you on your next purchase. One other question, does membership include partners? Absolutely. If we're doing a retreat, you can bring your partner, but it will cost. If you're doing a webinar, you can both be on. In fact, I always want both spouses in a spousal situation, because often he or she gets all excited and goes running back and wants to buy the property, and the one that wasn't there doesn't. So when one of our agents meets with you face-to-face, we want both of you there. So partners are included. Someone's asked, how much equity do you need? As much as possible. But if you're a first-time buyer, a first-time investor, all you need is enough equity to get into your first deal. And we've got deals with threes in front of them, $300 and something thousand we can help you into. So if you work on a 20% deposit, that's 60 grand. If you work on a 10% deposit because it's your first home, and then all of a sudden once you own it, you're going to turn it into a rental, you might only need 40 grand to get into a house. In fact, you'll need less than that because you've got KiwiSaver, you've got the first-time buyer grant, and we muscle developers for vendor contributions or cashbacks on settlement to help first-time investors, first-time buyers into real estate. And the first-time buyer market is the market that I'm so excited about helping into real estate, because we have 50,000 houses that this government has not built that we need for our country. So that's going to be my target for the next 10 years, is to help Kiwis into real estate that have given up and don't think they can afford it. So I think that is all of the questions. If you're still listening, I'm going to go and have a drink and something to eat. Hope you have a good night, and I really look forward to meeting you online on one of these webinars, and especially face-to-face with all of my previous clients, because I miss you all, and I'm looking forward to helping you get into the right real estate in the right location and making those informed purchase decisions. I want to get back on your team. So hopefully you want me on your team. Have a good evening, and I'll talk to you soon.